Oops.
The bottom to
Yeah.
I see.
I've been waiting for this day for a long time.
Flop, yes! Mike was waiting too.
Knew you were gonna get caught in that position. What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and this is Table Talks episode 18.
So it's another Table Monkeys Travels to a Different Club edition, this time up in North York at a new club forming, also known as the SubZero Arm Wrestling Dojo.
Yeah. You may have seen this these guys pull on this table. Some of these guys, they pull with Umesh a lot, and Top Troll has had a few videos with them, so... but this is the first time that we made it up there, and we didn't even both make it up there.
No, it's just me.
Just you making it up there.
Yeah.
This is the first practice in a long time where we haven't been at the same practice, but it's like actually the first time that I haven't been at a practice, that I've actually missed a practice in
like a year and a half, right?
Well,
Since
not
you
a year
started.
and a half, but yeah, a year and a few months anyway.
Yeah.
Almost a year and a half now. So yeah, I was while you were doing this, I was getting ready for a big hernia surgery.
Yeah.
Getting my stomach fixed.
Well,
so,
that's all done all now, right?
Yeah, it was successful. Everything went well, and painful as shit. And like in the moment, obviously not while it was happening because I was passed out. But but yeah, surgery's a trip, and recovery is. Always it's always a battle, but it's like anything, you learn from losses, and you learn from trials and tribulations, you know?
Yeah, but we've been looking forward to this day for a long time because we know that your progress is somewhat limited because of your hernia, right? But now it seems
100%.
limitless.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this has been because of COVID, this was actually supposed to happen back in July, and because of the whole COVID situation, everything else gets put on hold. So this got put on hold for a long time, and finally I was able to get the surgery done.
And reconnected your abs, so
yeah,
soon you'll be flexing those bad boys at the table.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to make a big difference. Yeah, they actually put a 30 by 20 centimeter piece of mesh in my ab wall to reconnect everything. So it's a total reconstructive surgery. It's with the way that they do hernia surgeries now, it's kind of it's not very often that they actually open somebody up and reconstruct the abs. They usually do it orthoscopically with just little tubes that go in and little tiny cameras and stuff, and basically do everything under the skin. But mine was so big and massive that wasn't going to happen.
Literally, what the word the doctor used was
the medical term for the size of my hernia was massive, massive incisional hernia, abdominal incisional hernia. So the hernia I got it from a previous surgery that I had, which we're gonna do a whole video about that whole battle, but it was an RPLND, which you can Google if you want to see, but it leaves you with a giant scar, basically from right under your chest to right above your groin, and it goes around your belly button. And I was 365, 370 pounds when I got the 360 pounds anyway when I got the surgery done. So I was way too big, and it was so healing from it was an issue. And then where they made the incision just started to open up and create a whole bunch of openings. One time the doctor did refer to it as Swiss cheese, so that was fun. But
and then all the lifting and arm wrestling since then is kind of
it hasn't helped. It hasn't. It definitely hasn't been. I mean, it's helped mentally. It's helped me in a way that I can't even describe, as far as my quality of life, and everything, and having a purpose, and really having a group of people to progress with, and the whole team aspect. We're going to talk about that. That's a huge part. So arm wrestling has been amazing for my life, but it has obviously does cause stress and strain on my hernia, and the hernia has grown considerably since starting arm wrestling. Well, since I got it, it's been constantly growing.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I got it, we were lifting right together at the time and everything, and then once I knew I had it and I couldn't squat and deadlift anymore, I decided, okay, I can still kind of bench. So then it was just benching, bench only for a long time and just working my upper body like crazy. And
you did that bench only competition,
exactly.
And then after that it was kind of like full steam ahead with arm wrestling.
Yeah, because as we were walking out, like I realized going for a max effort on bench was still too much like core strain to really, like it wasn't
to really push it,
right? And like I could do heavy triples and stuff and do like crazy weight for reps, but actually pushing a single just wasn't gonna work still, you know. And so I was kind of bummed on that. And then walking out, we saw the arm wrestling happening. Actually, we saw Victor. I remember watching Victor and Dallas Hogan arm wrestling on the table, and I was like, wow, that looks pretty cool. And I wanted to like jump in right then, obviously, but we didn't. Went home, Google, YouTube, Devin, long story, and then got you into it not long after, right? So which is what's so cool about this sport is that it's a one-on-one sport, but there's no way to get good at it without a team, you know?
No, and the best part of it is that team aspect. You get to train with so many different people, and you want to train with different people so you can learn as much as you can, right? And they're always there to help you in times of struggle, right? Especially now, you're not going to be away from the table for too long before you're stepping up and just trying to grip hands and feel a little pressure. And you'll be doing that as long as you can until you can actually put some pressure on the table, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the recovery period's going to be like I'm going to give myself 6 months before I go like full on, like ready go at a tournament, like take on competition that I think I should be taking on. I'm sure we'll have practice. Like I'm going to practice hard after 2.5 months. That's my goal was about 10 weeks, and then start pulling hard again in practice and training as I was training before when I had a hernia. And then at about 6 months, start training like super hard, like I don't have a hernia anymore, and go balls to the wall. So which is what you said earlier is the truth, is that I have had a serious limit in how hard I've been able to push arm wrestling, which is part of the draw to it in the first place. Was like, okay, physically I'm pretty strong. I can bench around 400, I can curl the 120s, I can, you know, lat row the 300, the stack, like I've got decent strength generally in the gym, but I can't push myself at the lifts that I like to push myself at before. But for arm wrestling, I really need to train my hand and my wrist and all these angles that are weird, which you can train without really putting a lot of stress on your core. You can really isolate. So it just became arm wrestle as much as I possibly could, with as many people as I possibly could, and then basically just recovery, like wrist and hand work as much as I could, with added, you know, like I would do some pressing and some rowing and some pulling, and still like.
But you just avoided all things core related, right?
Yeah, and anything really like serious strength building. So like heavy standing curls, even heavy seated curls. Like there's just too much like force, like grunt going on. That I could, if I did a preacher curl, would be okay. Like as long as my shoulders were kind of isolated and I didn't have to use my back and stuff too much, or like my hips or obviously my core, but it engages in ways you don't even realize. So the thing with the hernia is it doesn't really hurt in the moment. It upsets your stomach and it makes you feel like shit later, at least for me, and it just opens slowly. So you don't realize that you've done some damage and you've opened it another 2.5 centimeters from doing what you did.
Yeah, I remember that one time you put on a belt for the first time when you tried squatting, and you felt like a little tear from that.
That was the first time. That was the original one, exactly, where I was like, oh shit, at that. And the doctor at Shouldice Clinic said that I definitely had the hernia like before I noticed it. So that squat was just like something pushing through finally. But like the
damage was already
done. So but yeah, I mean, it's a crazy thing to go through. And one thing that's interesting about this sport, there's so many people that find this sport through some way of like, oh, I couldn't do this anymore, so now I do this, or like there's just so many stories of where this sport saved my life. You know?
And then once you're in the sport, even like when you get an injury, you're finding ways to work around it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Even if it's just in your arm, like, oh, I can't go outside anymore, I gotta go inside. Like the longevity of it and the way that it just forces you to
adapt.
and see constant progress, see constant different, and there's so many different angles, there's so many different ways to do it, so many different hands, so many different people so you get so many different examples of what's possible, and it just makes it such a cool sport for that team aspect of it. And then, like you said, the team is there. Like, as we're building, as I've met all these guys that we arm wrestle with, there's a group of guys now that I know will be there to help me get better, that want to see me get better, that want to see me get back to where I was, and all that stuff. And we're going to all work together to not only, like, not just to work on me, but work on everybody. Like, we all bring each other up. It's like, again, like Devin said, it's not about going up like an Eiffel Tower on your own. It's bringing everybody up like a community,
exactly,
like a giant skyline.
And we're trying to do that here in Toronto. We want to make the strongest
club that Toronto's ever seen, man. Table Monkeys headquarters is going to be whenever, as we continue to build it, that's the goal, man. We just, like, with the group we got, with Mike, with Dustin, with Lewis, with everybody we keep finding. I mean, it's just constantly growing. There's tons of strong people out there, and
Armbet is gonna allow us to meet even more of them.
Yeah. And you know, there are no limits. It's about what you're willing to put in. That determines how much you can get out in the end. You know.
Oh yeah, man.
So
anyway, that's the video. We hope you liked it.
Check this last clip, and we'll see you guys next time. This story will continue. We're gonna have a little doc coming out that really goes through all the backstory, and hopefully, if there's anybody dealing with shit, maybe it helps you get through your shit and find a way to find purpose and meaning, which is what arm wrestling does for us.
Monkeys out.
Peace.
Oh, you cheeky fuck.